guys, it's Kristen with Simply a Stewart, and I'm back today with an eBay video. I haven't done one of these in a while, but I wanted to share because I've got a question several times on how I balance running an eBay store with staying at home and being a homeschooling mom and all the other priorities that fall on us when we're the main caretaker for our home and our family. And so when I started eBay, one of the things that I started, basically how I started, was reselling my kids' outgrown clothing and shoes, occasionally some of their toys that they may not have destroyed or lost the pieces to. And I would resell those things, and then I would recoup some of that money and be able to use it on the next size up for their clothes and their shoes. So I got very familiar with the kids' items that sell. And when I started, I was also doing consignment. So I would sell things that were a little more name brand on eBay, and then things that maybe just came from like JCPenney's or smaller store or department type stores, I would take to a local consignment and I would resell. What happens if you're not familiar with consignment is when you take everything in, everything sells together, and then they usually send you a check for a percentage of that. It was not a shop like Once Upon a Child. It was an actual twice a year sale. And so you could go as a consigner, you could go early and you could shop for your own kids' clothes. When I was there, I decided that I would not only shop for my own kids, but I would also go ahead and use that as an opportunity to source. Sourcing is probably my biggest downfall. It is very hard to get out and source when you have 4 kids. And so this is a great way to be able to do both. I can take my kids to the sale, I can shop for their needs, and then I can also keep an eye out for things that I know or I have looked up before that sell on eBay and purchase those items. The great thing is my kids are getting older, and so my oldest, my 9 and my 7-year-old in particular, like to go on a treasure hunt. I will give them a list of things that they know or things that they have learned in the past that they already know about that sell well, and they will go ahead and look for those items while we're in like the toy section. Bonus, that keeps them from looking for stuff for themselves because they're busy looking for me. So anyways, we just had our local consignment this week, and I was able to get a pretty nice haul, and so I wanted to share some of those items with you. I'm not going to share everything today, but I wanted to give you some ideas of things that you can source there. So one of the first things I'm going to share with you is often an overlooked section, specifically at a consignment, I think, and it is the lovey section. I picked up a few of these. These are 2 of them. These little security blankets or loveys. These are great because often a child becomes attached to one of these and then they can no longer find the item. Maybe they become 2, 3 years old and they're still attached to something like this and they need it to sleep at night, or they really wanted to sleep at night, and it makes the parents' life a little easier to let them keep it. And all of a sudden they left it at a restaurant, or they left it at Grammy's house when they slept and Pappy didn't know it and he threw it away, or whatever happens to it. They dropped it in the mud somewhere. The parent wants another one and they can't find it. You can't go back to the same store because the store changes inventory and they no longer carry it. What happens then? Parents turn to eBay. They're looking for this item that no longer is carried by anyone. And when you find these and you put them up, sometimes they can make really good money. Not all of them do, but some of them do. New in the package are usually a great sell because the parents know that they haven't been used yet, which is really nice. But sometimes these ones that are not new in the package sell even better than that. So I always check these up. I look them up. I look up the comps. If you are unfamiliar with how to do that, I will drop a link down below. I think I did a video on it already, but I did also put a blog post up. So I will go ahead and put that down in the description below, and it'll show you how to do that. But I check the comps on these. You can usually pick them up really cheaply. You can also find these at yard sales, even cheaper than that, but 50 cents to $1 usually at yard sales. Usually, I think I spent, let's see, it's on here, 2 for this one, and I spent 3 for this one. And so I'll be able to relist them. This one, when I looked it up specifically, I remember it was selling for $9.99 plus $7.99 shipping, so $17.99. It'll not cost $7.99 to ship, so you will make more profit off it than that. I will personally list this as first class. So you're looking at probably a profit of like $6 or so after shipping and fees and cost of product. But it's a really easy list, and when you want to be listing consistently, easy listings sometimes are necessary for a homeschool parent. So these were great finds. Always check out the Lovey section. Next one is clothes. Clothing at consignment is kind of hit or miss, because unless you find bigger brands, maybe like Matilda and Jane or KP, you're not usually going to buy something that's maybe just Justice or something like that to resell. If your kid has a Justice and you're not putting any money out for it, it might be worth reselling, but not typically buying it consignment. However, sometimes you will find something unique. And I found this. It's a little handmade sweater, and I picked it up for only $1. I phoned in a friend on this one because I was busy looking up comps, and my kids wanted to eat lunch, and so I was a little bit crazy. But a friend of mine who also sells on eBay said she sold this exact style and design of sweater just a couple weeks ago for, I think it was between $15 and $20. So for $1 pickup, it was really easy to list. It was nice and clean, which was nice, but you could hand wash this very simply. And there you go, I'll show you the back. And so that was an easy find. Often I don't buy clothes to resell at consignments. I typically stick to the other types of items. But when you do find something like this, it's a nice little bonus to be a go ahead and to list. The next thing is shoes. Now, shoes at consignment are hit or miss. A lot of times they are kind of worn out. You might not mind them for your kids, particularly if they're play shoes. Kids go through shoes very quickly, but sometimes they're in really good condition, which these ones are. This particular brand is Stride Right. I don't buy to resell just any kids shoes, but there are a couple brands, and Stride Right is one of them. They sell really well for me, and they, not for a high value, but they sell very consistently in the, I would say, $15 to $20 plus shipping range. And so I picked these up for $4, and I actually didn't look up the comps on this particular brand. A key with Stride Right is, and I don't know if I can show this on the screen, is this little tag here that shows the size. It will also show a particular name. This one is Clementine. So when you search Stride Right, you can search Stride Right Clementine, and it'll bring up this particular type of shoes only. They all have their own name, which is something that helps when you're looking for comps. So definitely check out the shoes. Now, something that happens in the fall that does not happen in spring consignments are costumes. Costumes sell, and it is not too early to be selling costumes. I sell costumes all year long. I was selling costumes in February, but I always try and get most of my costumes that I have from the summer listed by August, and they do start selling then. But I check definitely at consignment for anything that I can go ahead and pick up. And two of the things I picked up this time were Jack Jack. With the Incredibles movie coming out this year, I always check boys and girls costumes. I check the comps before I go to see kind of what has been selling already, and see if I can find any of those particular items. And then if I see anything that catches my eye, I go ahead and check that out too. So this was one of the things. I picked this up. I believe it was for $3, and he's selling in the $20 range right now, I believe. And so I figured that would be a safe bet. I did not get a chance to look him up, but I did go ahead and pick that up. And so these are things that most of these I have not looked up, but some of them I have. So you always want to do your comp checking. Even from season to season, things change. This one I did not look up either, but this is a Carter's baby set. And you can see it has the pants here. These are always a huge hit. I sell these every single season. I did not look it up this time. Again, this was another $3 set. Usually I can sell them $20, possibly even higher. People go looking for particular animals. They might even want certain colors, and they can often find them cheaper on eBay than in the stores. So these little Carter sets are always a good find if you can find them cheap. If you're spending $15 at consignment, obviously they're not going to be worth your resale time. The next thing that I have to share with you are books. Sorry, getting a little bit of a reflection there for you. Books and book lots. Now, not books, like I said, individually, but lots of books that come by a particular author or they're a certain series. These in particular are the Rainbow Fairy series. And they don't resell for a ton, but I got these ones for, $4. And they will sell roughly for about $16.99 with shipping, I believe. So not a ton of value. Again, very, very simple listing, especially if they're cleaned, which these ones do appear to be. I always try and check them out if they have highlighting and different things in the middle. I had a few of these that I also bought for my kids, so I've already opened those ones and checked them out, and they all seem to be in very good condition. So I photographed the fronts, I photographed the backs, I photographed the spine, and then I open a few of them up and show the inside and that it doesn't have markings. These literally take me like 2 minutes to list, and so they're very easy for, even though it's a smaller profit, very quick, very easy to list. And again, when you're trying to balance a bunch of things, quick listings are good because you always want to be consistent in your store. The more consistent you are, the more sales that you'll get. So after books are toys, my kids' favorite section to go look in. And like I said, having them have a treasure list of things that they're looking for me helps keep them also for looking for things for them. So it also keeps my personal budget down. So the first thing I found, or my girls found actually, are these Monster High dolls. Now, not every single Monster High doll sells. If you have some that really aren't worth them and you lot them up, they'll sell well as a lot usually. These ones in particular will sell okay as themselves. I bought them each for $2, and they will sell, I believe, if I remember correctly, and I could be wrong, was around $25. These are what they call the first wave, so they were like the first set that came out several years ago. And so they're a little bit older. You can't find them in stores. Kids who are still in a Monster High want some of the older ones and they can't find them. And so these are great. And with Q4 coming up, if you're unfamiliar with that term, that just means quarter 4. With the holidays, kids, they're putting these things on their Christmas list that they can't find anymore in the stores. I've actually had this happen to me. My sisters loved Monster High a few years ago, and they would put these Monster High dolls on there that they had sold like 3 years before that. And so to find them on Amazon or eBay, they were like $50 to $100. So you never know. Toys that were in the stores 4 or 5 years ago can resell for good money. That being said, toys that are older and so along with that, one of the other things that sells well from the toy section are not necessarily vintage toys, although vintage toys do sell well, is older toys. Toys that a mom of, maybe a 15-year-old had, and she has a span of kids and she kept it for her younger children, and now she's done with it and she's reselling it. For instance, this Little Einstein set. Little Einsteins, at least to my knowledge, is no longer on TV. My kids do have the DVDs, and they do like Little Einsteins, but it's not on a TV channel anywhere. So often people have these DVDs or these VHSs that they get, and they watch these videos, and then you can no longer find the toys that go with them in the stores. And so parents are scrambling around Christmas time or birthdays throughout the year to go ahead and find their kids toys that go with their beloved movies that they've started to like. And this one in particular is one I have sold, I would probably say at least 5 or 6 times since I have started reselling about 3.5 years ago. And this particular rocket ship, depending on what you have, different characters, there is a screen that attaches to this which makes it more valuable if you have what's called the green screen. I do not in this one. And it does make sounds and noise. So if it makes sounds and noise, that makes it more valuable. But I have sold these anywhere from $100 to $150 plus the shipping. So this one in particular, this is where I was talking about my daughters. My 9-year-old took off like a little busy bee right after this. She spotted it. We bought it for $14, and that's actually probably the lowest price I've paid. I usually pay between $20 and $25 for them, but I will resell this. I have not cleaned it up yet, and I have not checked the sound on it to get a definite idea, but I do have all 4 characters, so I will sell this for a minimum of $100 plus the shipping. And with Q4 coming, that usually drives the prices of toys up. So keeping an eye out for these things. One of the other things that I used to sell a lot of was Handy Manny. Now, I've noticed that there's been a decrease in the value of those toys, but if you know of a set of movies or characters that are still around on DVD and VHS but are no longer in the stores, you should check it out and see what kinds of things sell. You can just check the comps for whatever the name of the thing is, Little Einsteins, Handy Manny, etc., and it'll show all the different little toys. Sorry, the next few are kind of big, and so I'm going to back up here. Oops, I dropped that and it fell. The characters all over the floor. Okay, so the next thing I have, and this is kind of a big hodgepodge and hard to see, but these are an Octonaut set. If your kids are not familiar with Octonauts, it was a TV show, again, on Nickelodeon, and lots of Octonaut sets sell well. I actually just sold a set that I bought at the last consignment in the spring. I think I bought a few different sets that were being sold, and I lotted them together myself, and I spent roughly about I spent roughly $30 on all the sets combined, and I sold it for $125. So you can see you can make a large profit if you're willing to put out the money, and you can often find those things very easily. So I found 2 sets this time. I spent about $40 on them, and I have not got a chance to look up all the individual things, but I will at least double my money back on that, if not more. So that was a great find. And then the last one I'm going to share with you is this I think it's called Megazord, and it is from the Power Rangers. I will turn it around and I don't know if you can see in here. Ooh, down, sorry. Maybe this way is best. You can see it has the little guys in it, which does make it more valuable when you have those little guys in it. And this one is selling for about $100. So he is going to cost more to ship, and he's going to take a little more time to ship, but he won't take much time to list. He's very clean, so I'll just wipe him down quickly to get some of the dust off him with a rag, but there's no real markings on it except for maybe here, which a great way to get those types of things off is just a magic eraser, and I use the dollar store brand ones. They work great. And so I will go ahead and list him, and he should easily sell over the holiday season for at least $100. So another easy, great find, and I'm sorry, I spent $15 on him. So again, a nice profit. He will take a little more work than like the books, but not a ton. Some of the other things, now these 2 are both on the idea of more vintage or things that you're not easily able to find anymore. You always want to keep an eye out for those types of things. And so on the edge of our book section, they started a section that was all homeschool materials. So, of course, what did I go do? I went and looked at the homeschool materials. Well, right in between them, setting, were these. And if you're as old as I am, these will give you nostalgia and a blast from the past. They had these vintage Lisa Frank address books. I guess they didn't know where to put them because they're not really books and they're not really homeschool, and they really don't have a home at a place like that. And so they kind of just had them stuck in there. And I think because of that, nobody really picked them up. I don't know if they weren't looking for them or they just didn't care. But nobody had picked them up yet. I actually got more than this, but there are 4 different designs. And I did not look them all up. I only looked 2 of them up, and one was selling for about $16 and the other one was selling for $35. You can see right here on the back our little consignment tag. I paid $2 a piece on these. They're brand new in the package. I will take this tag off and I will photograph the front and the back and I will be done. I will actually probably make this a multi-listing with all of the different types. So dog, unicorn, cat, etc. So this can even be one listing, or I can stretch it out and make it more if I'm having trouble coming up with enough things to list throughout the week just because of my schedule. So, but again, very, very easy things to list. These things will turn a profit very easily. So always look anything vintage, but anything vintage new in the package especially. And along the last thing I had to share with you along that last idea, and I do believe these happen to be vintage, but you don't have to look for vintage. Sorry, I was trying to look for the date on it, but I don't see one. You don't have to look for always vintage ones. Are new in the package party supplies. So these are favor boxes. And I always look at the party supplies very quickly. Sometimes invitations, different things I've sold, like Nickelodeon Rugrats. I've sold invitations for that. I've sold napkins and tablecloths. I've sold vintage Mickey Mouse, like older 50s, 60s Mickey Mouse. Different, I think those were invitations too. They might have been napkins. So different things like that. So when I found these, I knew that I should look them up. They are sealed and in the package. Now, sometimes if they're not sealed, but they've been obviously unused, you can still make money, but obviously new in the package brings you more in. These were in a package with a few other things. I will probably honestly throw the other things away. They were like used open decorations, but these were $1 together in one package, and they, I can't quote the price on these because I don't remember for sure, but they sold at least for $9.99 plus shipping, I remember. So 50 cents a pack. Very simple again to list, and you know, will turn an easy profit. So, and easy shipping. Those are my favorite kinds of things. Easy shipping. So those are just some of the ideas of the things that I was able to pick up at my local consignments. Depending on what the quality is of yours, we go to several consignments throughout the year, and some of them are better than others, but it's always a place that I'm already there and I'm already with my kids, that it's easy to source. I don't have to try and get out and go to a Goodwill or to another garage sale while my kids are trying to get them in and out of the car. It's another opportunity to source, and it's not somewhere that all of the other eBayers go to source. They're usually busy at the typical places, and that's just not somewhere, if you don't have kids, that you don't typically go. And so I wanted to share that with you guys today. If you guys like this kind of video, please give it a thumbs up and click that subscribe down below. I'd love to have you stick around. I do videos about eBay as well as about homeschooling and just different things that are going on, often grocery hauls as well. So we do eat a healthier lifestyle. If that something appeals to you, I'd love to have you. Those are just some of the things that I was able to pick up at my local consignment. It does depend on the quality of your consignment. We have multiples in our area, and some of them obviously are better than others, but it is a nice opportunity if you're already going to be there to not have to try and get out and source. You're already there, and you can source somewhere that you're going to be for you and your family anyways, as well as it's a place that I find personally in my area there is not a lot of competition for, because while people are there searching for their personal families, they are not there sourcing like they are at a Goodwill or at garage sales. So I hope those were helpful for you. If you guys like these types of videos, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe down there. I'd love to have you stick around. I do other eBay videos as well as homeschooling and grocery hauls. So thank you very much, and I will see you next time. Bye.